Hello YouTube, Arrow Assassin here today. Welcome back to another video, and today we're doing a video on Assassination Rogue. This is something you guys wanted to see, and a few things before I get into this video is that one, this was requested by a bunch of you, and I said if you still want to see this because my Rogue is not 120 yet, but for the most part Rogues do ridiculous amount with this build and all that stuff anyways at 120, so you guys still said you wanted to see it. Second is that most of the stuff in this video is what works for me. Some stuff might work different for you, but I'm still going to cover it for you guys anyways, just in case. So, hopefully this will help you guys, and let's dive right into the talents first, sorry. First row, Master Poisoner, Elaborate Planning, and Blindside. I've used all three of these, and I would recommend either Master Poisoner or Elaborate Planning. There's been 50-50 between these talents, but I use Master Poisoner simply due to the fact of Toxic Blade for the extra damage. It's really all there is to it, and that's it. Second row, Subterfuge. I use this just in case you mess up, like for example you get caught in a random AoE for no apparent reason, or stealth randomly drops because it does that, and somebody's near you. You can get that extra chance of stunning them. So even if you get caught, you can quickly stun them when you need it. So, or for example, a lot of rogues, including me, does this. So you stun your primary target, and you get that still extra 3 seconds. You can stun another target. So, or it's just pretty much, it's an extra chance. It's an extra stun on 2 targets if you need it, because I know a lot of rogues do that. So if you're stunning, let's say for example your team's jumping this one guy, and there's a healer nearby. You can stun the primary target to help them get him in a CC, and then you can stun that healer who's nearby him, and they can maybe secure the kill on it. Like for example, a combo you can do with Subterfuge. You can do stun on that guy, like I said, and stun the healer, and then quickly shadow step back to your main target, and then pop a smoke bomb, and secure the kill on that. So, that's just an example. I'm sure a lot of you guys may deal with this. I'm just trying my best to explain as much as I can. Next row, Vigor or Marked for Death. There's 2 choices, like I said, Marked for Death or the Vigor. So, best one in this row, in my opinion, is Marked for Death. It's the 5 combo points whenever you can, use it whenever you want. It's just too good to pass up. So if you feel comfortable with your haste and you don't have any energy regen problems, or you can manage it quite well, Marked for Death. That's all there is to it. If you don't feel comfortable with energy and struggle with it, Vigor. It's just the way to go, in my opinion. Fourth row is the most optional row. It's just up to you. I don't like Cheat for Death because 6 minutes is a long time, and that's just me personally. So I just don't like Cheat for Death or Cheat Death. Elusiveness, I just don't use that. And Leeching Poison, it's on you all the time. So more leech, like all there is to it. Next one is kind of same as the 60 row. It's kind of your choice. You can use Iron Wire if there's a lot of casters. Prey of the Week is still pretty good, and even though it was nerfed, and Eternal Bleeding is good as well. I would probably pick in this order Eternal Bleeding, Prey of the Week, and Iron Wire. So that's just me personally. None of these are bad by any means, but that would be just the order I would pick it in. Next row, Toxic Blade. I feel like it's this mandatory talent for the extra burst, and then for the final one, Poison Bomb. For, like I said, it's mandatory in my opinion with the, like Toxic Blade because of the burst. You'll be using Envenom and Rupture a lot, and it does kind of proc pretty often, even though it says, it just does proc pretty often. That's really all there's to it. Honor talents. System Shock I would recommend being mandatory. Creeping Venom, I would, in my opinion, is my second go-to choice. I feel like it's mandatory to me, at least in my opinion, but it's not really mandatory if you don't want to play with it. I just recommend at least System Shock more than anything else. I use Creeping Venom because if you guys know how I feel about people with Creeping Venom, nobody ever freaking stops moving. They always move, and they leave it on them, and it annoys the crap out of me because I always tell people not to move, but even stealthers don't move. They just continue moving on with the Creeping Venom buff, and they can't even stealth, and then they end up getting screwed over because it gets them out of stealth. So, because it refreshes. Anyways, this is just a little rant, but yeah. So, that's why I use Creeping Venom, because if people are going to keep moving, it's like, fine, give me the extra DPS, man. Shiv. If you guys remember, Wound Poison was removed as an honor talent, so It was pretty much a free space now, and Shiv gives wound poison as well as, well, technically it gives all poisons, but it applies wound as well. So, if you want to use it against healing classes or healers in general, Shiv, it will automatically apply it, and it's really nice, and I clicked the wrong thing, my bad. Yeah, so, if you don't want to use Shiv, because like I said, it's not really mandatory, I would recommend either Maneuverability, Death from Above, or Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb is also a really good talent because if you want to secure a kill, you can do it using that. So it's really nice. I've seen a lot of good Smoke Bomb plays. It's a really, really strong honor talent. So traits. Let's go ahead and cover traits now. Wrong one. Traits. Nothing personal. I would recommend getting one of these if you can. Maybe even two. I don't know if they stack yet. Battlefield Focus is good too, but I wouldn't recommend it'd probably be like my third favorite. That's really about all there is to it. One of them that I do want to get, which I have none of unfortunately right now, is Shrouded Suffocation, because it generates an extra combo point when you use Garrote from Stealth. So having that extra combo point to build combo points faster, to get a Rupture, or basically actually just to get a Rupture, because I'll go over rotation and when I can in a second. But would be pretty nice. But unfortunately, I just don't have any of those. So, if they do stack, I'd probably recommend getting maybe 2 Nothing Personals, but I'd at least get one of those. 1 Shrouded Suffocation, 1 Nothing Personal, and then maybe a Battlefield Focus. But the ones I'm using right now are just your standard generic Glory in Battle, Blood Right, and Champion of Azeroth. So, like I said, I'm not 120. It's pretty obvious, but you guys didn't want to see it, so I'm trying my best. I try to please as many people as I can. Stats. Let's go over stats. I go with haste, then crit, then mastery, but I feel like it's really tough because, like I said, haste in this expansion pack is it's a pain in the butt. It really is. And if you don't have a lot of haste, like I said, it's going to be harder to play with Mark for Death, in my opinion, which is why I went with Vigor. So, like I said, if you feel comfortable with your haste, I'd still recommend a Mark for Death. So, I went with haste, then crit, then mastery. So, that's just my stat priority right now. Burst macro, Vendetta, Potion of Prolonged Power, Blood Fury, and then of course my trinket I have, which will depend if you have a trinket or not. So a lot of you guys ask me my burst macro on every single class, basically, and this is generally it. Literally, that's it. Just like, for example, switch out the Vendetta for Incarnation as a druid. Everything else is pretty much the same except for obviously Blood Fury because he's not an orc and the trinket. So probably use the Incarnation in the Potion of Prolonged Power. That's literally my burst macro. If you're a troll, you add in Berserking. It's just, like I said, it's really nothing special. Like, that's literally what my burst macros are on all my tunes. It just depends on what you are, what trinket you use, and if you use the Potion of Prolonged Power, you don't even need a burst macro probably at all. Well, unless you're like a troll or a Dark Iron, if you want to add that into your spells, or an orc. So, the final thing I'm going to cover is the rotation. There is no set rotation in PvP. There just isn't. Everything just depends on the situation, but this is generally what I open with. Cheap Shot, Garrotes, Mutilates, Rupture, and then here you build up some more combo points, and then if you're at 5 combo points, you can either do one or two things. You can use Kidney Shot, which probably for the most part I generally do, or you can use Envenom. And then once that's done, you just build up combo points again, and then to like 3 or probably about to 3. And then you use Toxic Blade, pop your Vendetta, and then just pretty much go ham. Just build your combo points and spend them on either Kidney Shot or Envenoms. And that's all there is to it. Just as a reminder, because I didn't do it, because I'll show you guys kind of like what to do on either thing. Just keep your Garrote and Rupture up at all times. That's part of your rotation. Just keep that in mind. So, one more time, of course. I'll try and cover it one more time. So let me get out of combat to get a re-stealth. What you want to do is open up with a Cheap Shot, Garrote, mutilate, rupture, and then you can either do 5 combo points into an envenom or kidney shot, whichever you prefer. And then on the next one, use combo points to get up, use 2 mutilates, and then toxic blade, and then pop your vendetta, and then envenom, and so on and so forth. Just a reminder to keep up your rupture and corrode sub. So if you see it about to come off, wait to pop your burst cooldowns, of course. But then like assassination's damage is just really nuts. So for the most part, it's pretty forgiving. For the most part, it's just basically simple spec. So hopefully this guide helps you guys. If you have any more questions or whatever, if you have any advice to help people out in the comment section, feel free to do that as well. Reminder, this is what you guys wanted to see. I asked if you guys still wanted to see it, even if I wasn't 120 yet. And it was surprisingly, a lot of people said yes. So, see you guys later.